All right. Hello and welcome to everyone who is tuning in today. Welcome to our table talk session, Getting Off to the Right Start. We are thrilled to have you here. I'm Jade from Student Success Services. Let's give a warm welcome to my amazing co-host Talha. He'll introduce himself and we'll get this awesome session started.
Hi, my name is Talha. I too am from Student Success Services. Before we begin today, we'll begin today's session with a land acknowledgement to express gratitude and honor the Indigenous people, past and present. Canadore College is situated in the Robinson-Huron Treaty Territory, and we are presenting from the traditional territory of the Nipissing and Anishinaabe. Even though we meet virtually, we recognize the importance of the land we call home. This acknowledgement reaffirms our commitment to fostering better relationships between nations and deepening our understanding of local indigenous cultures. We honor the ancestral and unceded territories of Inuit, Métis, and First Nations across the land.
Today's session brings together key experts from admissions, registrar's office, financial aid, academic center of excellence, and the international office to guide you through the exciting beginning of your journey. Today's panelists consist of Dana from the associate registrar's office, Sylvie, international admissions officer, Emil, international student advisor, Marianne Heist, educational technology support specialist, Joelle, financial aid officer, and Jonathan Cranston, pathways officer.
To keep the things organized, we'll be using the Q&A feature. Your questions will be answered and everyone can see them for added insight. If you want to be discreet, feel free to ask anonymously. Remember to please keep questions and comments respectful and appropriate. This session is being recorded and a copy of the chat transcript will be made available.
Today's session, we are focusing on the next steps you need to take start on your journey at Canadore. All of you who are joining us today or watching this replay at a later date have accepted your offer and are looking forward to getting your schedule and finding out what classes you'll be taking. This will happen once you register for classes, and to learn more about this, we have some more questions for Dana from Associate Registrar about registration. First question, when does registration begin and what if I'm unable to register at that time?
Thanks, Jade. Hi, everybody. Good morning. So registration is starting actually tomorrow morning. An email went out first thing this morning, letting everybody know exactly what time and date their program registration opens. So please check your email. So the exact date and time is in the email. Once registration opens, you can sign up anytime until registration closes. The last day to register is January 17th.
All right, thank you. How do I register for classes and what happens if I have issues while I am registering?
So you'll register for your classes using self-service. You'll need to know your student number and your personal identification number. If this is your first login, your PIN is your date of birth in the day, month, year format. An email will be sent a couple of days before registration, which we just did yesterday or this morning, with full instructions and the times, and your window will open to register.
All right. What is the housing attestation and what happens if I do not have housing secured yet, but I would like to register for my classes?
So it is your responsibility to find housing prior to registering for classes. If you do not have housing secured, this needs to be done before registering for your classes. If you still need housing, you can apply to Canadore residents. There are still spaces available. You can also search on places for students to find off-campus housing or apply to the Canadore Home Share program. If you've done all these steps and still have not found housing, please contact our housing.support@canadorecollege.ca email for additional assistance.
All right. What is my student number and where can I find it?
Your student number is your unique identification number. It will be on your offer letter that you would have received in the well, possibly not in the mail, depending on when it was sent because of the Canada Post strike. But you would have received it in email format as well.
All right. Do I need to pay my tuition in full before I register for classes? And how can I find out if I still owe tuition fees?
So you will need to pay for the the upcoming semester to register for your courses. Students can refer to their invoice or the website to find out how much you owe. On the program pages, it lists the tuition amounts. So go to your specific program page and your tuition amounts will be there.
All right. And how do I submit a payment?
You can pay online at the Student Payment Center on our website. Instructions are on the back of your invoice. I think Trish will probably put the link in the chat as well. Yeah, full payments due before registration.
All right, thank you, Dana. I'm going to turn it over to Talha to ask you a few more questions.
Sorry about that. So you're probably wondering how your class schedule works and whether you can change your program before classes start. To help clarify these doubts, we'll again turn to Ms. Dana for guidance. So my first question is, how and when will I get class schedule? Do I get to choose my own schedule?
So once you have successfully registered for classes, your schedule will be available in self-service. You will also see it as you're picking your block. Schedules are mostly chosen for you, but typically you can choose your electives.
Wonderful. How can I tell if my class is going to be online or in person?
So looking at your schedule, if it is an in-person class, a classroom number will be listed.
Okay. What does it mean if my program is hybrid? Do I need to be on campus?
Hybrid programs means that at least 60 to 70% of your classes will be delivered on site. You must be in North Bay or Parry Sound to attend a hybrid program.
And the last one is, can I change my program before the start of classes?
In order to change your program, you must withdraw your acceptance and reapply with a $150 application fee to change your program. If this is not recommended, that is, as it is based on seat availability, and you are not guaranteed a spot.
Thank you. Jade, over to you.
Right. Thank you very much, Dana. That was definitely very valuable information for students. Now, once you have completed your course registration, you will find a very useful course in your timetable, which is CAN 100. We have Marianne here to share a little bit more information about what the course is and how you can access it.
Good morning. How is everybody?
Oh, good. Okay, first question for you, Marianne. What is the CAN 100 course and do I need to complete it?
Good question. CAN 100 is a course that Canadore has designed to be a one-stop shop or a single repository of all the things that you need to be successful and well-informed as a student. Topics range from what student services are available, how to access and use Canadore technology, online and campus safety, academic success and integrity, and learning and mental health supports. And yes, you are expected to complete the course in full before the end of your first semester. Typically, it should take no longer than a few hours to thoroughly complete, and completion includes achieving 100% on all 7 of the CAN 100 quizzes. Note that it is a pass or fail grade, and it does appear on your student record, but does not impact your overall program GPA.
All right. How do I access the CAN 100 course?
Access to the CAN 100 course will typically be available once you are able to log into iLearn. And it'll be available the same as your other courses that you're enrolled in through iLearn. So once you've enrolled in those courses for your semester, your iLearn account will be created probably within about 24 hours. It does take overnight for your single sign-on to be generated and for you to be able to log into iLearn. So once you can log into iLearn, you will probably only see the CAN 100 course because it is the one that is available immediately. Your other courses will appear in iLearn later once they begin.
All right. And final question for you, Marianne. When am I able to access all my other courses?
So your other courses will appear in iLearn once they begin, not before. So if in doubt, once you have registered in your courses for the semester, you can look at your course schedule in self-service to find out what those course start dates are. Typically, most courses will appear midnight on the first day of the semester. So I guess it would be Monday, the 6th of January. Just checking my calendar. Monday, the 6th of January. Probably all your other courses will appear, unless they are 7-week courses that begin after reading week or other non-standard delivery type courses.
All right, thank you very much, Marianne. Over to you, Talha.
Well, I'm sure everyone is looking forward to seeing what Can 100 course has to offer. Next up, we'll be talking with one of our wonderful financial aid advisor, Joel, who will share with us some insights about funding options for students, as well as some tips for making our money last. So my first question is, how do I know if I'm eligible for OSAP? Is it too late to apply?
Student in Ontario who wants to apply for OSAP can do it up to the last 60 days before the end of their study period for this year. So if they try to apply, let's say on the 59th day, it'll be too late. So you have right up to the last 60 days before your year is done to be able to apply for OSAP. Also, when you do apply for OSAP, you're not going to know if you qualify until you fully complete the application. Nobody can do the guessing because it's based on every single answer from your question, the question that they ask. So what I would suggest is ensure that the application is fully completed because of course you're doing it online. And it is an online application. And what happens is that there's nowhere on that application that you can sign your name to a contract because it is a government program. And so there are required documentation that the students must review and fully complete. And then once they do that part, which they have to complete within the last 40 days. So application, last 60 days, required documentation, last 40 days. And then after they finish everything, that the ministry makes a decision on an assessment and tells you what kind of funding they're willing to give you.
Thank you. So what happens if I'm not eligible for OSAP? What other options do I have?
In my experience, anybody that decides to go to post-secondary, of course, a lot of them are going to apply for OSAP. But if they don't qualify for OSAP, I would always say to the student this: have you saved up for your education? So do you have savings for your education? Have you talked to your bank or any bank regarding a student line of credit to see if you can qualify? Or is the parents actually paying? If you are Indigenous or any other, have you checked with your parents' work to see if they're providing any kind of help with the student for their tuition? If you're Indigenous, did you talk to your band and find out if you can get sponsored? You can apply for external scholarship during the time before you start school. You can apply for the scholarships and bursaries and that from Canada College, which is on our website. Having said that, the amounts are not as high. You need to ensure that you have the funds before you register. But I'm going to say between the OSAP program, the student line of credit, savings, parents' help, jobs, get a job, a weekend job or whatever is what the students use to finish their post-secondary.
Well, I think you kind of touched upon what my second question is going to ask. So I would again re-ask it. So what kind of financial aid is available for Canada College students?
Our department deals with, of course, OSAP. So we help administer the OSAP program from the ministry, but for Canada College donor awards, they are all listed on our website. And it has start and end dates of when they open up and when they close. And we've tried our best to leave the scholarships open till the end of January so that our January start students can apply because they're starting on January, I believe, the 6th. And so please ensure that if you're starting in January, please go look on our website. I can put the link in the chat that tells you, please go and apply for our scholarship. The entrance award, they open up in May. So there'll be the entrance award, the scholarship that are still open. If you decide to have a second year in your program, let's say it's a year 2, then in October, our bursaries open up. So if you're here from January to even December, then you're going to see all of the awards and when they open up, when they close, and how we let students know that they're winners. Also, yeah, for the awards, I'm going to say go to the Canada website. I will put the link in the chat. I will also put the link of where you can find about OSAP if you're interested, but that's your decision if you want to apply for OSAP or not. And then I'll put my our email address if you have any further questions like that. Same time that you don't want to ask.
Another question is, how can I budget my money for the school year so I don't run out? Do you have any budgeting tips?
What I've noticed over the years, of course, a budget that marks down all your educational costs and your living costs, and then the amount of money that you're going to receive should be done way before you even register or start at Canadore, because you need to see if you're short. So I always tell my student, do your budget before you start school, and in your expenses, put down an expense that hasn't occurred yet, maybe an extra $1,000. Because there's always life, and everybody knows life has a way of putting some surprises in the little kink that students just don't seem to be aware. They were ready to come to school with the exact expenses they had, but my thing, I tell the student, put an emergency pot off to the side for anything that might occur that is extra expenses for you. Of course, any student that needs help doing a budget can email financial aid and we'll set up an appointment. They can come and see us and we'll help.
So on that note, what is the best way to contact financial aid?
I'm going to put the financial aid link, but anybody who tries to get a hold of a financial aid officer, we have a shared email that we look at every day, 15,000 times a day. We usually answer those emails within 24 hours. At the busy time, 48 hours, I'm gonna say. And it is FINAID, FINAID, at canadorecollege.ca.
Thank you. That was very valuable advice. Over to you, Jade.
All right, before we go on to our next set of questions, we have another question for all of you. How many of you are joining us and have already completed a program at another institution? If this applies to you, you can use the raise your hand feature in the session. For those of you that have raised your hand, you may find our next panelist, Jonathan. What he has to say, very interesting. He is going to be answering some questions about credit transfers at Canadore.
Well, thanks for putting all that pressure on me. Good morning, everybody.
All right.
Sorry in advance if I disappoint, but no, Jonathan Cranston, Pathways Officer. And yes, if you have prior post-secondary education, there may be the potential that you could go after some course exemptions to lighten your course load, which everyone can appreciate. Time is precious, and the ability to get out of a course or maybe more is obviously very, very huge. So credit transfer is important. Jane, do you have a specific question for me?
Yeah, I have a few.
Okay, perfect. Fire.
Yeah. What is a credit transfer?
So credit transfer is recognizing prior post-secondary education you've done. It could be international, it could be in Ontario, it could be anywhere, but the stipulation is that it is at the post-secondary level, so university, college, and alike. And it's basically saying, you know, about a course you're doing at your new program at Canadore, you've essentially already done previously, and it you know, hopefully allows you to not have to repeat material you've already learned.
All right, awesome. Will my credits earned at a previous post-secondary institution transfer to Canadore?
Potentially. I have to speak in vagaries because every case is different and everyone has a different situation, but we have a system in place where you can have an evaluation done by a subject matter expert who reviews what you did previously and compares it to the course you feel that you should be able to get out of. And then they will make a determination whether it's approved or denied, and then be able to reduce your course load from there. So we have a whole process that is, there's a lot there, and I know we've got a lot to follow this morning. So I have shared in the chat and I think Trish has as well, how for you to get to the student mobility page, where you can get more in, you know, sort of inside details for those that the credit transfer really applies to. It would be a valuable resource. And then of course, reaching out to me as always is a great way to get more information.
All right, for sure. How and when can I apply for credit transfers?
So they can be done at any time. Our official deadline to apply for credit transfer for a guaranteed result before the first day for the winter semester has passed. It was December 4th, but stress not, credit transfers can be done anytime. Now, ultimately, if you're trying to get out of a winter course, you don't want to be trying to drop that course, you know, 2 days before the end of the semester. That's going to be too late. So this is definitely among the million other things that you're going to have to do. Everybody catch your breath. You're going to be fine. But make sure you do, if this does apply to you, take a moment to ensure you do submit your credit transfer applications as soon as possible. The sooner you submit them, the sooner you can get a review, the sooner you get a result, and then the sooner you either know that, yes, I can drop a course, or darn it, I've got to stay in. All students are required to stay in the course while the review is going on. So we don't want people to make assumptions, because usually those that do get burnt really bad in the end when they don't go all semester, only to find out, oh, I didn't get approved, and now they've got a failing grade. So avoid that crappy situation, and follow the links so that we've provided in the chat to learn more, and reach out to me to get more support for credit transfer.
All right, awesome. And last question for you, Jonathan. What do I need to apply for a credit transfer?
Excellent. Documents, documents, documents. The rest of your life is documents. Welcome to the rest of your life, everybody. So this process is no different. So transcripts are the number one of two important things, three actually, because it validates the grades that you've received when you're trying to say, yes, I got a C in the course I took. So those are usually accessible if you've used them as part of your OCAS application or have officially had it sent to the school. I can access it. If we do not have those documents yet, they do have to come directly from the prior institution, and more information is available on that on the credit transfer page that I know you've all already clicked on and you're so excited to learn more about from the chat. The other big document is course outline. You want to tell me you took a course and don't need to take it again? Well, you need to prove it. What was learned in that course? And the course syllabi or outline from your prior institution is the second important document, and then the application form that kind of pulls all that together. So there is a little bit of paperwork, but yet again, all available on the links provided in the chat.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. Over to you,
You're
Tom.
welcome.
Well, before we move forward, a big thank you to all our panelists so far. We are over halfway through our questions. Now we are going to shift our focus a bit. Our next questions are going to be specifically for international students, and we'll be talking about visas, study permits, as well as what to do if there are issues with when you are traveling. So our next set of questions is to Sylvie, and the first question is, what should I do after I get my visa?
Once you receive your visa, what you want to do is you want to upload your visa to your OCAS account. Typically, every student, once an application is submitted, whether through an agent or you do it yourself, you automatically get access to your OCAS account. If you can't log in, ask your agent to provide you with the login information. If you still can't log in, you can reach out to International Admissions. We'll put the email address in the chat, but that email address is also on page 2 of your LOA. So what you're going to do once you log into OCAS, you're going to navigate to Offer Actions, and you're going to click on Visa Received, and then you're just going to attach your visa in the spot that pops up for you to do so. You will also want to do that with your study permit, because you can't register until you have your study permit. Now, this is for just international students only. You cannot register from your home country. You must be here in Canada to be able to register, have your fees paid in full for your first semester, and have your study permit uploaded. You'll receive your study permit when you arrive at the airport.
Wonderful. So where do we upload documents like visa and study permits?
So that's just it. You click on Offer Actions in OCAS, and you just visa received, and it'll give you other options as well, like study permit. Click on that, and that's where you attach it.
Thank you. This is the important question. What happens if there are visa delays, and who do I reach out to?
You're going to want to really consider deferring if you don't have your visa approved by December 20th. That reason being is that's the deadline for deferral. Once you defer, however, you cannot register either. We can't cancel deferrals most times because of seat availability, because we have other students waiting for seats. So if you do defer, just know that you're going to lose your seat. If you're approved after the fact, you can reach out and see if we still have room. You can send an email to International Admissions. We cannot promise that we can accommodate at that point, but definitely consider deferring.
Our next question, I think you've already touched this topic, but I'll ask you to elaborate. Do we need to have a study permit before we can register for classes?
Yes, 100% you do. If you're a current student and you're extending your study permit, what we need is your letter your confirmation letter from IRCC that your study permit extension has been submitted, you can register with that. If you're brand new, first-time student with Canadore College, and you're coming from your home country, yes, 100%, you must have your study permit to be able to register.
This next question is a little bit tricky. If an international student gets permanent residency either before commencement or during the study period, can they be converted to a domestic student?
If they receive their COPR, so they receive their COPR letter, their permanent residency is approved before the 10th day of class, they can then convert to domestic fees. However, if they receive their COPR day 11, the international fees would have to remain on their account and they would stay international student status for that semester, and the following semester they could then become domestic and have domestic fees.
Thank you. You talked about deferrals, so I have a few more questions about deferrals. What is the last date for deferral?
The last date to defer is December 20th. So just keep that in mind. You have until midnight Eastern Standard Time to defer on the 20th.
Can I cancel a deferral request?
Most times the answer is going to be no. Once you defer, that seat's been given to someone else that's been waiting. We want to keep our seats full. So if you've deferred, you've given up your seat.
Thank you. Thank you, Sylvie. Over to you, Jade.
All right, thank you very much, Sylvie. Now we are very close to the end of our questions. As international students prepare to arrive in Canada, you may have a lot of questions about your journey, whether that be about dealing with immigration, knowing important arrival dates, or getting support once you land. One helpful tool you want to use is iSent. Let's start out by finding more about iSent. Joining us for our final set of questions about arrival and traveling to Canada is Emil, one of our wonderful international student advisors, who is a part of the international office here at Canadore. So the first question is, what is iSent and when are we supposed to use it?
Thank you for that wonderful intro, Jade. The iSent app, it is a mobile application. So it is like much other apps. It is available on the iOS and the Android platforms. You can, it is free for students at Canadore College. You can use your student number, email, the campus that you're going to set up and register for an iSent account. These details can be found on your letter of acceptance. And what we use this app for is very much for you to be successful and to share all the information that's happening on campus and your IRCC related situations throughout your journey at Canadore. So for example, any events that's happening on campus or any student workshops that we conduct in terms of study permit extensions or the new IRCC rules that come out, or for other departments that have events happening for student wellness. It is very, very essential, and if not, I can say even mandatory for students to have this for you to be successful here at Canadore.
Thank you. What if there's a problem at immigration or while boarding a flight?
Okay, this is a situation which we do not want any student to be in. But that being said, there might be situations that is beyond your control that could happen. One thing to note here is to have answers very confidently and very firmly when you answer any officers at the border. When in doubt, you can ask questions about anything that they may ask you to provide for. If you are for some reason not able to answer that, or like if you're denied boarding, or if you cannot transit through a situation or like an airport, please reach out to us because it is a case-by-case situation. Please reach out to us, email international@canadorecollege.ca, and also CC International Admissions. We will be able to respond as soon as possible and help you with the situation.
That's very valuable information to know for sure. What is the last day for international students to land in Canada?
So this has to do with you registering for classes. As Sylvie said, you cannot register for classes without your study permit, and you will be receiving your study permit only on the day you enter Canada. So that being said, you are advised to be here before the first day of classes. And I think December 20th is the last day to defer. If you have not got an approval on your visa yet as of today, you might have to strongly consider deferring your intake to a later intake.
All right. Will international students be picked up at the airport?
No, we do not pick up students at the airport, unfortunately, but there are major services that run from the Toronto Pearson Airport to North Bay. We have the Ontario Northland bus service. We have the Northern Airport passenger service, which runs every day. And also you can take a flight to North Bay. Yeah, these are the three services that you have to reach to North Bay from any major port of entry.
All right. Final question for you, Emil. How do you get a social insurance number as an international student?
So social insurance number, this might be a very new term for international students. So it is a very important and confidential document. You need this document for you to be able to work here in Canada and also to file your taxes. Even though you do not, if you're not planning on working, this will be very helpful in filing your taxes. So this document and this 9-digit number is provided by Service Canada. You can either use a Service Canada terminal location, a Service Canada place at the airport, or you can come here to North Bay where you can visit a Service Canada location. We do also provide SIN clinics on campus where the Service Canada personnel come here on campus, and we do send out that information on the iSent app. Again, a very important thing to note, because we do send out notifications on everything that's happening on campus, including the SIN clinic, which you can use to get your SIN number.
Thank you very much, Emil. Over to you, Tom.
We want to take a moment now to thank everyone for submitting questions on the registration form. We were able to answer most of the questions that were submitted. We did have some questions that were unrelated to today's topic. So make sure to register for our upcoming session where we will talk about some of these questions.